My name is Wandia Muremi. I'm a service designer at Marathon XP. I shall be taking us through Marathon's approach to problem solving. We shall be getting into an activity through which we shall see that fintech innovation is possible through our service design approach. We're going to see that indeed banks are not dinosaurs. So we shall be getting into, before we get into the activity, we have some statistics here. This is a study that was done by TIFA Research towards the end of last year. And the outcome is that generally we know we're struggling economically, right? But Kenyans are frustrated about, in particular, their banking experience. We know that in other sectors, I prefer to walk around. So we know that in other industries, customers are having seamless experiences, whether it's in tax hailing, food ordering, entertainment. For example, what we have on the screen, I think you can agree with me that the difference in the experience usually it's just the size of the screen that differs, but the experience is pretty much seamless, it's pretty much delightful across the board. So we shall be getting into an activity. In front of you, there's some sheets of paper that is. And the first step in our approach is to understand our customers. We have heard a lot today about knowing our customers. So I want us to sketch on the top left quadrant what comes to mind when we think of our customers. Just draw or sketch anything that comes to mind when you think about the customer that you serve in your business. This is not a test. Feel free to, your designers, right? Feel free, just let your fingers do the talking. And we'll not show anybody's drawing to the group. I'll give you 20 seconds to sketch that. Okay. Does everyone have a pen? So are we done? Might be walking around the room to make sure following, not to mark the drawing, just to see. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of blank quadrants. Collins, what does this mean? I know I promised I won't show, but I can show yours because you've been on stage. So Collins has drawn what looks like a cloud. Huh? Maybe like, oh, this is great. A smiley face. This probably means the customer is happy. Okay. So the first step is usually to understand our customers. And to do this, we do a lot of research. We do, okay. So our customers are humans. And the first step we undertake to understand our customers is to do research. We do different types of research, qualitative research, where we talk to them, in-depth interviews, we observe them as they carry out their tasks or the job to be done that Collins mentioned. And in particular, we love qualitative research because qualitative research is where you really see the nuances in the experience. Quantitative research is great. It really shows you the numbers. It tells you what is happening. But to really understand why things need to get below the surface and have those face-to-face deeper conversations with your customers. So we come up with what we call personas as a behavioral. I know a lot of us in banking have come across personas. Our personas are slightly different in that We do not base them on demographic attributes, but more on behavior. So human beings are more interesting than just our demographic facts, right? You may find a young person, and we've seen this through research, you may find a young person who does not engage in digital banking, somebody who prefers to transact in cash, doesn't have the mobile app, doesn't even use cards. And then you find an older person who uses digital banking, right? So we like to understand our customers at a much deeper level than just what is obvious in terms of demographics. Person very product. So you will, if you do research on, for example, a mortgage product, the personas that come out of that research will be different from the personas that come out of research for example, a card experience. Okay, so we've understood our customers. I want us to go into the second quadrant, which is the one at the top right. And in this quadrant, we are trying to understand our customers' experience. So I want you to sketch on that quadrant what comes to mind when you think of your customer journey. This one should be easy. And I think we now all have pens, so a bit faster. Just sketch what comes to mind when you think of. I really wanted to then see what we are doing, but I feel I need to stay at the front because of the because okay. Wenye mko huko nyuma mko na bahati. Okay, we can have a look. Awesome. Thumbs up, smiles. Okay, all right. So we're trying to understand our customers' experience. We're really speaking about the end-to-end experience as they interact with our brand. When customers come to us, they will engage with different and let them. They'll engage with contact center. Maybe other people will just the bank. So when we're mapping the experience, the end to end, I think there's an issue. Mic, the mic works when front. I think. Um, yeah. So we also map emotional journey, and the emotional journey is important because people tend to remember experiences based on the high points and how the experience ends, whether or not the experience has been positive. So it's really important for us to look at those peaks and also the end, because that is where the opportunity to improve the experience really lies. The graph on the right is called a dramatic arc, and it's part of the customer journey, and it helps us identify those high pleasure points and also the high friction points, as well as how the experience ends. And this is where the opportunity really lies in improving the experience. Customer journey maps are just one of the many maps that we use. We have different types of maps. We have ecosystem maps. Banks or organizations don't exist in isolation. They are part of systems. In the morning, we spoke about regulators. We have payment service providers. There are many other players in the banking industry other than just banks. So we also map for those. We have value proposition maps in which we identify the customer needs, and then we go ahead and find solutions that address those needs. Customer journeys are a little different from what we call user journeys, and I'll be talking about user journeys shortly. Okay, we can move on to the third quadrant, which is the one at the bottom right. And in this quadrant, this is where we look at the way customers interact with our brand. So here we're talking about touch points. So in this quadrant, please sketch what comes to mind when you think of your organization's touch points. What are how do customers interact with your brand? I really want to move around, but the mic is failing me. Okay. So in this quadrant, we're thinking about the linkages or touch points. And touch points can be physical or they can be digital. An example of a physical touch point is, for example, the bank branch. So when we're designing a physical space, we map out the experience of your branches, for example, how long they're taking on the queue, what services they are receiving from the branches, and then we design, we orchestrate how those services are provided. And then we also have digital touch points. And the info that we get from research, after we understand our customers and we map their journey, we use this information to determine how we lay out, for example, the information architecture on the mobile apps and websites, and that informs the digital products that end up being built. So I have shown you an example of a physical touch point, which is the branch, and I've also shown some digital touch points. On the left is in the middle is a mobile app, and towards the right is internet banking. But we have other touch points which cross the divide between, they're both physical and they're both digital. And we can think of such, for example, a credit card or a debit card. It's a physical touch point, but it's also a digital touch point. So we design for those as well. Lastly, in the last quadrant, which is the bottom left, here is where we design for the organization. So how is your organization set up to deliver this wonderful experience that we just described? So our last drawing task for today, what comes to mind when you think of your organization? Just sketch anything that comes to mind when you think of your organization. I think by now we've gotten the hang of it, so can move a bit faster. I'm hoping. Okay. So when we're designing for the organization, we look at the people, the experience of the people who work in the organization. We look at their culture, and we also have this great tool that we call our service blueprint. It maps out the customer's experience at the front stage, and then we also map the employee experiences. We have two levels of the employee experience. We have what we call the front stage, which is the experience of the employees that are directly customer facing, maybe people at the branch, RMs, and then the darker orange in the middle is the back end staff. So we know that what happens on the back end shows up in the customer experience, whether we are aware of it or not. So this is an intentional way of designing for that customer experience, whereby you not only look at your customer's experience, you also look at the internal experience of the staff that provide that experience. We also go further than looking at the staff. We look at the systems, the data, and everything on the back end, even policies show up in the experience. And we identify where there are opportunities to improve the service. And sometimes the problems are on the front end, sometimes at the back end, they're even in documents like policies, like I mentioned. So one of the improvements that we have come up with is robotic process automation. And here, so we know very well that, especially in banking, there are a lot of manual processes, whether it's approving a loan application. Um, I think it's Moses who was speaking in the morning, and he spoke about some decisions that need 10 like 10 people to approve a decision. So some of this verification can be minimized with automation. And the result of this is faster turnaround time, more efficiency, and we take away those grueling tasks that really wear down employees. And there's a significant impact on the bottom line from this. We're talking 9 figures. Yes. And the interesting part about this is, despite all this automation, there has not been, you remember that fear that Charles spoke about in the morning, the innovation sometimes will leave people, it might have an effect on what you do, right? But from what you've seen so far on the automation projects we have done, the organizations have managed to keep all their staff. And the beauty about this is the staff now focus on the more meaningful tasks. So, for example, instead of an RM pushing a credit admin staff about whether the loan was approved, they can focus on more meaningful activities, like spending time with the customers, trying to understand their needs, and curating that experience for them. So, in a nutshell, this is our approach. This is the marathon service design method. We focus on really trying to understand the customer, mapping their journey. We design for all the touch points. And then finally, we design the organization. And a short way of remembering it is HELLO, H for human, E for experience, L for linkages, and O for the organization. And we have a handout that we have placed on your tables. You can, it's our keepsake. You can use this to just to remember this process. Um, okay. Ian tells me we don't have much time left. So thank you for your attention. I hope this has been enlightening. My colleagues and I are available to take any questions now or afterwards. Feel free to check out our website. We're on a mission to make customer experiences better everywhere. Thank you.